Your Spring Boot application is running perfectly in the production, but until only the 2 a.m. Suddenly, the user can't place the orders. You open the logs and all you see is just the logging. Something went wrong. You don't have the request ID, you don't have the user ID, and there is no stack trace. Now you are debugging blindly in the production. What's the problem? This is not a code problem. This is definitely a logging problem. The most Spring Boot applications have got logging enabled, but very few have the production grade application logging level enabled. I have seen application going down not just because of the bugs, but because of the log which is filling the disk or the sensitive information leaked in the logs files, and no one could trace the request across the services one by one. In this video, I will show you exactly how logging is done in the real production systems, which log level to use and which one is going to destroy the performance, how to structure the logs so that they actually help your incidents, how to trace a single request across the multiple services, and how the companies set up the rolling, retention, and the centralized logging. And everything will be shown in the real Spring Boot code example. This is not just a theoretical tutorial. There is a whole lot of difference between the logs that look nice or the log that saved during the outage. This video is arranged exactly how experienced backend engineer thinks, and starting with why the logging matters, moving it to how it is going to break in the production, and at the end with the real world pattern used in the companies. Let's discuss the very first point, why logging in production is different, or first of all, why it is required over here. The points here I'm going to explain are very, very important. Logging is not for debugging purpose only. In production, the logs are actually used for incident responses, root cause analysis, auditing, and compliances. Along with that, they are performance monitoring as of the application. Bad logging causes disk exhaustion, performance degradation, and sensitive data leakage. What is the beginner always try to do a common mistake? They always write system out.println and they actually print that. There is no logging level enabled, there is no structure, there is no control, and no correlation between this. Let us discuss how it is going to internally work. Spring Boot logging architecture. Here, I will explain how the Spring Boot is going to do the logging. If you take the look at it, if you Spring Boot, after that it is going to take an SLF4J, which is a facade, and Logback, which is going to be the default implementation when it comes to logging. Now, why SLF4J matters over here? Because you can change the logging framework without even changing the code. Always code that is going to be against the SLF4J. What is the correct logger usage? You can actually create a controller or any of this particular component. You can define the logger with that particular controller or any of these particular classes you define, and then you can enable or log the information using those particular methods, whether you wanted information that is .info, that is error, debug, and other methods available. Here you will see these are all parameterized logs. These are all lazy evaluation and framework agnostic. Let's discuss the logging levels and when to use them. This is very, very important. Take a close look on it. Trace. This is an extremely detailed, whenever there is a requirement of extremely detailed use cases, you can use this. This should be never used in the production. Make sure you mistakenly also don't leave the traces for the production logs. Debug. This is specifically for the developer to debug and understand what's going on wrong. You should not enable this in the production as well. So usually this should be kept off. Info. This is majorly used for the business flow or very, very important log messages, kind of understanding what exactly the kind of business flow the invocation has happened and where the flow is going on. So this should be definitely kept on in the production. Warning. So these are used for an unexpected but recoverable incidents. So whenever there is such incidents, you should try to log in, and then this should be always enabled in the production. Then comes the final error, which is actually used for the failures, which requires an attention for everything, because this is something which requires or it has made your application stop. So this is the utmost important one. This should be always kept on. There is no skipping of this. This should always be kept on. There is no, say, reason to keep it off in the production. Look at this, the real world examples where I'm trying to, let's say in the case of order, the sequence or the information what you try to log with the info is, let's say the order is placed, you wanted to know or display that order ID and who has actually created the order. So in that case, the order placed, the user ID and the order ID should be displayed. Let's say you want to do some warning. So here you can actually write the warning saying the payment retry for, let's say, the order and attempted this many times. So there was a warning message sent to it that this was the second retry or whatever the retry. Okay. Then comes the error. So payment failed, a very critical message that it has failed and there is no recovering back and this should be locked up. So these kind of things you should log the errors over there. To the logging level, you should be able to understand that these particular things are configurable, and how you can do that in the application.yml or properties. We'll look into it. The basic and the very safe configuration you can keep it is using the logging level, that is the root level info. You can keep it as info. Then whatever the other packages you can actually have for your specific applications, you can keep it as an info level over there. But let's say you wanted to keep it environment specific based configuration, then you can keep it separate for all. So in the separate application -dev.yml, you can keep the dev configuration as debug or something. Then in the application.production, you can keep it as error info, whatever is required in. So you should always keep debug in the debug for the production debugging level, and you can always use that particular the profiles in order to enable what kind of logging in the production applications. The logback configuration, which can be used for the production, which are we mainly used for rolling, size, and retention purpose. If you take a look at the logback.spring.xml, this is one of the must XML configurations for that. And then you can actually define the appender over there, it is time based or not. So whenever you wanted some, let's say the log has been of certain size, and it is impossible to load or open a file or log file which is of GB. So the strategy is to make the production logs with respect to the size, with respect to the configuration date and other details. So you can actually take the configuration and define those over here. So it will actually try to retain the logs, and it will keep the rotation of logs to a new logs at every certain duration. The disk is kept safely over there, and the retention policies can be kept as per the configuration. Structured login, this is very critical for the production based. What the problem with the plain text log is, let's say the user 123 placed an order 456. This is a very plain configuration of the logging message. It is very hard to search, filter, and aggregation. Nowadays we have ELK, we have Splunk, we have other tools which the loggings are aggregated over there, and then the user or the developer search over there to understand what went wrong. The structured way of logging should be something like where you have created the order, and then you have defined the user ID, the order ID, the amount, etc. in this particular proper format. So even you can actually have a better JSON logs. You can define the log stage encoder over there. So as an output, you will see that there is a JSON which will have the level, the message, the user ID, the order ID, and the amount. So you can keep that particular information as an output, which is going to work with ELK, Grafana, or Datadog as a tool. Correlations ID. This is actually used for tracking the request when there are multiple services. So across the services, when you want to track certain requests, this correlation ID is used. Let's say one request is passing through multiple services, and let's say the logs become very impossible to follow. In that case, there is a problem over here. What is the solution? There is an MDC which is called mapped diagnostic context. Here, what exactly, for every request there is a filter where you can apply, you can override that particular method and generate the random correlation ID for it, and you can keep that particular correlation ID going from one service to the other service where you will be making use of this. So the log pattern can look with that particular certain correlation ID, and here if you see in the info level, the things will be shown up for that particular specific correlation ID. So whenever there is a printing of information level, then you will see that for that particular correlation ID, this is that particular log. So across that particular correlation ID in different services, you can track it. So this is how the production logging happens. Now, whenever there is an exception, you have to make that particular correctly enabled, correctly log those. So there are some very mistakes areas which you have to log in. Already the wrong way to do is, whether there is an error, then you should with that particular error there is an concatenation, you're trying to display the message. But the correct way is you should have the log.error, and then you can make use of that curly braces to print those particular error and the exception over there, which is throwing the stack trace and showing it. Here you can display that the stack trace, which is going to be the very mandatory, and the message is going to be without the stack trace, which is very useless in the production. So always the message should have the stack trace, because without stack trace there is no use of what went wrong or how you can debug that, how to identify the root cause. The sensitive data, what you should not log in production. Many of the developers make the mistakes of logging the password, the certain information, or certain very important informations like SSN ID and other information. So never logs the password in the logs, never log the token that is generated by the application which is used for the logging purpose, never use the credit card information, the PI data which would be a GDPR risk over there. Always mask the details. So you can use that particular email and then mask that with certain utility tools. you can maintain the centralized logging. So there is an ELK, there is a cloud, AWS, Azure. So here you should always maintain the logs, and you can actually forward it to the log stash, which will be stored in the Elasticsearch, and you can actually view that in the Kibana. So we can make use of the ELK structure to visualize the logs would be forwarding to that particular log stash, and from there it will be forwarded to the Elasticsearch and the Kibana. So this is how in the production the logs are carry forwarded and displayed in the Kibana. Let's discuss the real world logging checklist, which is very important. Always try to make the error and the info enable in the production only. You should always structure the logs in a very proper format, not using the concatenation, but already the parameter like defined in the methods. Like info has got some parameters, you can define that. You can also do the rolling files, where at a certain time or a certain day you can roll out that particular log files to a different file, so that the log is single file is not overloaded. Also very handy to maintain, and also you can actually maintain the reduce the size of the application by moving out the logs which are old. You should always have the correlation ID defined and generated, so that you can track that particular services across many services. You should not log any sensitive data. Make sure you understand this. Centralized storage and centralized logging, this is quite important. Always throw an error logging and alert information. You can send an email. You can actually display some very crucial information in that. If your logs are not searchable, not correlated, and not structured, they are very useless in the production for any person who is trying to find a bug or debug the issue.